Hey y'all, it's Janet here. You'll see me in a minute. I'm still trying to wake up, drinking my coffee, getting my hair done, all the good stuff. I'll join you in just a second. But until then, welcome to my modern homestead.
There they are. Goodness. ICT.
All right, y'all. Are you ready? I'm ready. I'm awake now. I've had my coffee, got my hair pulled back, got my apron on. Are you ready to make some magic in this kitchen? Well, at least in the canner. At least I hope it's going to feel like magic. What we're doing, did I already tell you what we're doing? I don't know if I did or not. We're doing something called Hoppin' Johns. Now, Hoppin' Johns, from what I understand, tends to be a southern dish. I'm a southern girl through and through, born, raised right here in Georgia. I've never had Hoppin' Johns like this, but my sister knew what I was doing before I told her, so it must be a thing, right? I forgot my bacon. I'll get that in a minute. But anyway, now growing up, I guess we cooked poor. My mom and dad are both from really big southern families, and there wasn't a lot of money to go around, so maybe that's just the way things were done in those families. I don't know. But Hoppin' Johns to me was always just black-eyed peas and just rice. Nothing fancy, no special spices. But today, y'all, we're going to can Hoppin' Johns, but we're going to make it magic. Let's take a look at what we got. Let me bring you a little bit closer. When I do mine today, we're going to use garlic and onions and bell peppers. I have 3 pounds of black-eyed peas. I let these were dry. I let them soak overnight. Kept water in them just a little above the peas to make sure they got good and soaked. That way we're good to go this morning. I would prefer fresh bell peppers, but my grocery getter forgot to get them yesterday, and that's okay. I've got all these frozen ones in the freezer. They should be fine. So those are already chopped up for me. I'm probably going to stick them in the mini chopper and get them even finer. But here's where the magic happens. In addition to the garlic, we're going to use paprika. I did have smoked paprika. I don't know if I've used it all or if I lost it in the move. Who knows? But we're using paprika today. We're also going to use a little chili powder, and we're going to spice things up a little bit and use some cayenne pepper. Now, I don't like my food really, really spicy. I like to enjoy my food. And if it's spicy and my nose is running, I don't enjoy eating my food. So we're just going to put just a pinch. So it's not hot, but it has great flavor. And there will also be some tomatoes in there. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of the tomatoes in it, but I think it'll offer some great flavor. So we are going to add some. I don't know how many jars we're going to do. It's supposed to do 8 jars, but I looked at all of these black-eyed peas, even though it's just 3 pounds, and that looks like an awful lot. Oh, and parsley. I've got to get the parsley out. So parsley and bacon I've got to get out, and let's get this stuff chopped up. Are you ready? Let's go. Now, traditionally, this recipe would call, I say traditionally, but this recipe you can interchange the meat. If you don't want bacon, you could use ham, you could use sausage, you could use, I don't know, make it fancy. Do some, what's it called? Andouille? On something or other. Use what you like, guys. We're going to use bacon because I like bacon. I'm going to add probably about a slice to each jar, but I'm not going to leave it whole. I will chop it up. And I'm only going to use 1 bunch of parsley. Now with the onions and garlic and peppers, you can leave them as big as you like. Well, garlic you might want to mince, but the onions and peppers, do it however you like. I'm going to do them fine because, you know, sometimes you feed picky eaters what they don't know won't hurt them. I just wanted to jump in for just a second and tell you, if you don't have a canner and you're not interested in canning, but you would like to make this recipe, don't sweat it. I'll tell you what to do in just a minute. Now, for this recipe, we're doing 3 pounds of black-eyed peas. So for each pound, I want 1 onion and 1 pepper. I know in my bags of peppers, there is 1 pepper per bag. So I'm cutting up 1 onion per 1 pound. So we have 3 onions. And then I will do 8 cloves of garlic, or 1 clove of garlic per jar. All right, y'all, for each onion, which would be 4 quarters, I'm going to add in 2 garlic cloves and a bag of onions. Oh, for heaven's sakes, peppers. We might have to chop it down a little bit to get it all to fit, and that's perfectly okay. Eddie? Well, I was, or wasn't. There we go. All right, that's good enough. What we're going to do is continue till all the onions and peppers and, oh, I forgot to do the rest of my peppers. Till the onions and peppers and garlic are done. And then we'll continue with the rest. Now I still have 2 cloves of garlic, but I'm going to use those in the bunch of garlic, parsley that I'm going to do in the mixer. All right, 1 bunch of parsley. Just gonna cut some of these stems off. We don't need all those. Oh, I wish I had my chickens to give this stuff to. Soon, they're coming. Now this looks like a lot, but remember this is spread over 3 pounds of black-eyed peas. So we're going to add it into, I called this a mixer earlier. Sorry, it's a chopper. Mixer, chopper, same difference, right? We're going to stick our garlic cloves down in there. That was our last 2. If you would like to chop by hand, that's perfectly fine too. Move this cord, sorry. Here we go. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Okay, before I do anything else, I want to divide these beans between my jars. We're going to fill about halfway full. We're not going to sweat it if it's a little over, but we don't want to go way under either. I had a lot of beans left, or peas left, so what I'm doing is just going back and adding a few more to each jar, so that each jar is about 3/4 full. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. These have been soaking overnight. There should be plenty of room once they can. Last one. That's about 1.5 cups. And there's still a few left in there. We're not going to sweat it. We can eat them later. Alright, now let's take all of our jars, and y'all pray. I'm going to take a chance on this canner on this stove. You know it's new. I don't know anything about it. I prayed over this canner. I hope I don't break it. I mean, break the stove. Well, it could be a disaster. But anyway, I'm going to divide the peppers and onions. So you got right drawer. Still getting used to the kitchen. So we're going to take some peppers and onions, add those to each jar. I'm just going to start with a rounded tablespoonful, and then we'll go back and add more if I have more left over, which I'm sure I will. You know what, let's just save ourselves the trouble. Let's go ahead and add 2. We'll do that for every jar. This is our last jar. And voila. Okay, now we're going to add the parsley evenly between the jars. Probably about 2 teaspoons if I had to guess. Maybe just a teaspoon. You can always go back and add more. It's much easier. So start small and then go back and add more if you need to. I have a lot left over, so I'm just going to go back and add to the jars. And the last jar is done. Alright, now what I'm going to do is add a piece of bacon to each jar. Y'all, now when I tell you I'm adding a slice of bacon to each jar, I need to be more clear. It's only going to be about a half a slice of bacon. Now I have 16 jars, so I only need about 8 pieces of bacon. But I've got a little bowl over here with all my extra ingredients. I'm just adding them all together so I can show you at the end how to make this on the stove. So I'm just going to quarter the slices of bacon, maybe. And you don't need expensive bacon to do this. This is just cheap bacon. There is no sugar added to it. So we're just going to drop 2 little pieces into each jar. Just like so. Pretty, right? Look at all those ingredients. We'll be back when all of these are filled. Okay, all the bacon is done. Y'all, aren't these just the prettiest? What I'm going to do now is take some petite diced tomatoes and put about a tablespoon in each jar. Okay, y'all, it's time to season these jars. Now they look a little full, but it's okay. The ingredients will settle a little bit. They're just in there very loosely. This is chili powder. I'm going to put about, I don't know, about 1/8 of a teaspoon in each one. And then we're going to put the same amount of paprika in each one. And this is to taste, guys. Just whatever you like. Will be just fine. So 1/8 of a teaspoon of each of these, and then I'm going to go back and add 1 pinch, maybe 2, of some ground cayenne pepper. These are going to be so good. And in we go with the paprika. I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, then I have some cayenne, Literally just a little pinch, because I don't want it to set my mouth on fire. Ugh. Oh, how perfect was that? Okay, last thing is chicken bouillon. For this, I'm going to use the Orrington Farms broth base and seasoning and the chicken flavor. And for this, we're going to put 1 teaspoon in each jar. I like to cook my peas in broth. I either use beef or chicken when I cook them. It just gives it a little nice flavor. Okay, the last thing we need to add is boiling water. And we're going to add boiling water to 1-inch headspace. No, I didn't use any salt because the bouillon, that the chicken broth, already has salt in it. And we don't want to overdo it. Okay, at this point, we want to wipe the rims of the jars. Nope, pardon me. We need to debubble. We'll just run a spoon, something flat, around the edges of the jar. And just get out as many bubbles as you can. And if you need to readjust the headspace for your water, you can go ahead and do that at this point. Then you wipe the rim of the jar. You don't want to leave anything on it. Then you want to seal each jar. I'm picky about the way my lids go on, sorry. Go. And for this part, I like to have a towel. I forgot to grab one. Anyway, put the lid on, finger tight. When the jar starts turning, it's tight enough. Oops, my flat got turned. We'll do the rest of the jars. Okay, what you think so far? Let's get these in the canner. Now, as you saw, I only use 3 inches of water in my canner, but the weight of these will displace some of the water so that it rises over my jars. That's okay, as long as we start with 3 inches of water. Now, this water is right at the tops of the jars. Okay, I have 8 jars in the bottom, so I'm going to put in my second rack right on top of those jars. And then we're going to put the other 8 jars up there. There we go. All the jars are in. Now I just have to close it up. And for the All-American, you want to line your arrow up with the notch. Never done that before. It went on just right, perfectly the first time. Let's turn y'all around. Sorry about the wobble wobble. Then try to make sure your space is even between the canner and the lid. Sorry. All the way around. Wow, that looks good. I don't mean to keep knocking y'all around. Wow, that was rude of me. And then you want to close the knobs on opposite sides But don't lock them down just yet. You want to do one more check before you lock them down. Okay, and then tighten on opposite sides. That way you'll keep your lid as even as possible. Okay, we're going to turn up the heat just a little bit, and we're going to let this vent, well, got to let the steam start coming out of here. And once it starts coming out of here, then we will vent it for 10 minutes. I'll show you that part. Remember, keep your space clean, clean as you go. Don't waste the waiting. Just now starting to feel that steam come out of there. So we're going to set the timer for 10 minutes. This is what we call venting. Okay, I just finished lunch. And it's time to put the weight on the canner. Here I use 10 pounds of pressure. So when this comes up to 10 pounds of pressure, or on the gauge it will say 11 pounds, then we will set the timer for 75 minutes because I'm using pints. If I were to be using quarts, or if you use quarts, then you need to set the timer for 90 minutes, but 75 for us. In this bowl, we have all the ingredients that were left from the jars. I could have made another jar, but I needed to show y'all how to make it, so I had to leave some out. So all I'm going to do is dump this into a pan. There we go. So let's add some water to this. And we don't want a lot of water to start with. Let's just cover the black-eyed peas and start them to simmering. It's not going to be quite enough water because some will evaporate, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. That looks good. So we're just going to let this come up to a boil, and then we'll turn it down and let it simmer until the black-eyed peas are done. And that's it, you guys. 1 pound. If I were going to do this at home without doing what I just did, I would use 1 pound of black-eyed peas, 1 onion, 1 bell pepper, probably just 1 clove of garlic. I don't know, maybe 2, just whatever you like. A slice of 2 of bacon. You can use fresh diced tomatoes, or you can use however many diced tomatoes out of a can, and about 1/4 of a bunch of parsley. That's it, y'all. Oh, and the chicken bouillon, that beef, the broth base. Don't forget that. And just taste it at the end and adjust it for seasonings. We are so close. This thing got dusty in the move. I need to clean it, don't I? Just thinking about it. Okay, these are up at a boil, so I'm going to turn them down and just let them simmer because we are in no hurry. This is still thinking about it. I'm just going to prop this lid on here. I'm not going to close it. Just leave it just like that. Boy, she started with a vengeance. I'm going to let it go just a few more seconds. Then I'll start the timer. Okay, let's set the timer for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay. All of the liquid has cooked out of these. So I'm just adding just a little, just so I can keep these warm until we're ready to eat. The peas are nice and soft, and I don't want a lot of liquid in mine. Some people like a lot of liquid in theirs, and that's fine. You do them to your taste. And speaking of taste, I did taste them. They needed a little salt, so I added that in there. The jars are almost done. They have 5 minutes left. And once the canner cools down, we can take them out. Doesn't that look delicious? And that's all there is to it, guys. Alrighty, and we're going to turn this off. Isn't that crazy? At my other house, I had to keep it on low. I almost couldn't get it low enough. In this house, I can hardly keep it hot enough. So anyway, we will let this sit here until the hand comes and rests on that little metal post at 0. And then we will begin opening the lid. While this canner is cooling down, I'm just boiling a little bit of rice, and we will eat the black-eyed peas, the Hoppin' Johns, over the rice. Okay, we have our rice, and I've seasoned it with some butter and some magic seasoning salt. Now we'll just pour the Hoppin' Johns over. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, the pressure is down to 0, so I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to unlock this, but I'm not going to open it for about 10 minutes. Okay, we'll give it just another few minutes to cool off. In about 5 minutes, I will probably put pot holders in the edge like I always do, and then give it another few minutes. Alrighty, I just vented the pot a little bit, and we're going to leave this for about another 5 minutes, and then I'll take the lid completely off. Alright, let's get the pot holders out and get the lid off. Okay, are y'all ready to get these out? I'm going to give them just a few more minutes. We don't want to pull them out too fast. So about another 3 minutes and we'll get them on the cooling table. So there you go, everybody. There are our Hoppin' Johns. Why they're called Hoppin' Johns, I don't know, but I hope you enjoyed this video. You know I love it when you come and spend a few minutes with me. I love it when you're here. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, click the like bell down below. So, you guys, until we meet again, may you be blessed. Love you guys.